run for my money. There was nobody, no one that outrun me. So give me a run for my money. Sipping bubbly, feeling lovely. Living lovely. She's lovely. I wanna be with you. Hey, I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. Hey, I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. Me, just love me. If I didn't ride blade on curve, would you still love me? If I'm in my mind and word, would you still love me? Keep it 100, I'd rather you trust me than to love me. Keep it a whole 100, don't got you, I got nothing. I got something. Hold up. We gon' function, no assumptions. Feeling like Tyson with it. Got out Tyson with it. Only for the night, I'm kidding. Only for life, yeah, only for life, yeah, only for life. Let's get it, yeah, only hit that shoulder.
Hello. Happy Sunday. Leave it up to myself and Ashley to pop out on Easter and talk about sinners. Talk about sinners on this Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to anybody who is celebrating, and happy 420 to the other people in the back who are celebrating that as well today. We are very happy to have you guys here. Ashley, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, ready to dive into all of the layers and nuance, honey, of this black film that we got. I'm really excited to have this conversation. I think there's a lot to discuss here. A lot to discuss.
Absolutely, a whole lot to discuss. And before anybody gets their happy selves in the chat and act like they don't know where they are, high key Dane, there will be spoilers ahead. If you have not seen this movie and you want to, savor something for later, go check it out. And of course, you can come back later and run this video up and support us. But if you want to talk about the movie all the way up and through and out, you are in the right place. Just want to get that out. Spoilers. All the way through and through ahead. We got our usual suspects in the house. I don't be doing, roll calls. So let me act like Ashley. Hey, Anakin. Hey, Anakin, not Vader, in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Tony T. Hi, Tony. Darfalina is here. Critical Thinker is here. Please is here. Shannon D is in the house. Chow Dane's here. Hey Dane. Hey Dane. My sweet, sweet baby. My sweet babies. You know I got a Monique Dane. My sweet babies. Yes. That's enough cleaning house for me. Hey TP. That's all the cleaning house I got in me. Thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome to all of our usual suspects. Hopefully you guys have seen the movie. You guys are ready to go. Ashley, anything else you want to say before we get started?
No, I'm just excited to talk about black stuff, Tyra. I'm finally glad that we're talking about something and I don't feel like we're going to rip it to shreds. So I'm very excited about this. It
Girl.
gives me joyous on this good resurrection Sunday to have something good to say. I'm glad about it.
It's really, really hard as far as I never knew until we got into this space that we were considered to be harsh critics. Because, we'll rip something to shreds in a minute. But it's not that, we're harsh critics or we have a higher standard. We just like good movies. We like good writing. We like good storytelling. And we appreciate good acting. Ryan most definitely delivered. I am just really, really excited. Y'all don't mind my slides. I was rushing. I was rushing because, it is Easter. I do have babies, but I also wanted to get here and do this. But this is Ryan Coogler's baby. Okay, this is all him. I know it may feel like Ryan has been popping out in a major way as a director ever since Fruitvale Station, and then you have the Creed films, and of course you have Black Panther. But all of those are in connection to an IP, a Marvel universe, even Creed, that's an extension of Rocky Balboa. And Fruitvale Station is, Oscar's story all in its own. This is Ryan's first time writing, directing, and producing concept all by himself. And of course, once again, working with Michael B. Jordan, it used to be like bothersome to me that I felt like that Ryan wasn't growing beyond maybe working with someone else. But now, after giving it some thought and really getting back into old Hollywood and how there used to be team ups, it really reminded me of like when you had, I think it was like Mac Damon, Ben Affleck, all of them, they were together and they were moving in Hollywood, directing and creating films and uplifting each other in that space. And I'm like, why can't these brothers do the same?
That part.
Even though I want some dimension, I'm here for them pushing forward and getting into their own films together and supporting each other in that way. Ashley, how do you feel about this film and what Ryan was able to do with it?
Mr. Coogler did his big one because, of course, when I was doing my little research ahead of this live, I was like, oh, wow, he's always, like you said, been a part of an existing IP and kind of expanded on it. Or like you said, with Oscar's story in Fruitvale Station, it was a real life traumatic situation that we were on the cusp of, that he jumped right in and carried it out. But to think that he came up with this and the way that it's not even just so much the premise, which I love, it was the execution for me. I think it was the team, the cast that came together to tell this story. And he gave us complexity and he gave us nuance. And it wasn't one note, but then it also wasn't overindulgent. Like, we've been watching so many award worthy
Yeah.
film over the past year that have just been, it's been such excess, you know what I mean, and such overindulgence, and really kind of a lesson in pride, but this was so genuine to me and heartfelt. And even though, again, this was original, I definitely saw the influence. I told you I was over there with Robert, what was his name? Robert Johnson and the Crossroads. I felt all of that. I was like, okay, we finna make a deal like with the devil. Like, we're selling our
Yes.
soul for this gift, and just the impact of music. But I loved it. Kudos to him for not being pigeonholed, because it's easy to be a one-trick pony. And like you said, partnering with someone and making a bold choice that I want to work with this person in every one of my films.
Yes.
Huge. But girl, they say that about us over here.
Yeah.
And I thought, if you find a system and it works,
Work it. Yeah, it was my thinking. Let me get the super chats here from our heel. We most definitely appreciate you for the super sticker. Thank you so much for that support. And I think we have another one down here. Let me get it, y'all, because it'll be here, child, and it'll disappear. We have another one up here of the same. Thank you so much, our heel. We most definitely appreciate you for that. Yeah, this was an experience. Now, y'all know Tyra is bootleg piracy city, okay? Unless it's absolutely necessary. I'm like, yeah, do I really want to go to the movies for that? Do I really want to spend my funds on that? Because the movies is not, quite what it used to be as far as the experience. I spent some coin, y'all. I went to see this at the movies, and it is absolutely an experience. I really can appreciate what Ryan was able to do with the money, because with so many movies, apart from all the other expectations I have, it's always about, where exactly did this money go? You had this budget. Where did your money go? You really get to see where this money went. Now, even though later on in the film, it does tend to have a darker hue to it. And y'all know how I feel about darkness. I want to see everything that's going on with the lighting. But as far as visually and world building and how we were able to highlight, darker skin tones, all that good stuff, from a visual standpoint, this movie looked really, really good. And not even just visually, I am really big on ambiance, nuance, and world building. I felt the community. I felt it. I was here. It felt 1932. It felt very Mississippi, and it didn't feel like an expense was spared on that part. I really, really appreciated that, because a lot of the time it really be given. So you spent the money on what? Where did it go? It wasn't, it was dispersed right, whether it was the atmosphere in the film and the way that things look, the costuming, or even when we get into the special effects later, because sometimes we can kind of take a hit with that. I don't think anything here in this film took a loss. Thank you so much, Dane, for the $2. I thought Ryan, I taught Ryan everything he knows. Is that what?
Ciao.
See, that's why you got the wrong word here, because you were saying the wrong thing. Thank you so much, Dane. Thank you so much, Dave, for the $2. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just happy for this growth. And it's crazy because it seems like Ryan has been in our face for forever. But if this is your coming out party to really do something independent, I'm really looking forward to see what else he does. And with this type of film in the narrative, because of course this is horror, and I've been seeing people put elevated horror on it, they have instantly bodied him with Jordan Peele. I was like, let's let these brothers be separate. We don't have to group everybody together just because of the narrative in the film. Well, it's a black director, black films, and it's a horror element. Oh, this is Jordan Peele. This is not that. This is Ryan's movie, and I look forward to seeing what he does next. Oh Lord.
And he's so West. Let's not forget. He's so West.
We already know.
Him.
You already know how the West was felt in the film in a certain scene, most definitely. Very West Coast, very quick. That's why I had I be trying to have the song smash the setting. I was like, I can't bring Ryan here and not have no Kendrick Lamar. We have to do that. Better be lucky I couldn't find no
East Coast. You walking in there? Like, what is happening?
But as far as just what this film was about, Ashley and I were talking last night, and even with a few of the recaps I've seen, a lot of people, they were like, I didn't know that there were vampires here. I didn't even know nothing about nothing until we got to that certain point of the film. I was like, I don't know how we missed it, because the trailer kind of drives that part if we don't drive anything else. But this film is extremely genre bending. We're a period piece, period drama. There's heavy social commentary. It's a horror, and at times a musical. All of these things, in a sense, should not be working. That is a testament to Ryan's writing and how consistent he was. First of all, it's 2 hours and some change. And as far as a vampire in his presence, for anybody who may have seen the trailer, I'm sure that's why he led with it. If we had given, it's part musical, part social commentary, period drama, it's really allegory for something else with, some vampires slapped on top of it just to sweeten the pot, people maybe wouldn't have gravitated to it. People see things for face value. And if we see certain things that turn us, this is a race film. Oh, the blacks. Oh, Lord, I'm in the deep South and they on my neck. I don't want to go see it, and I don't want to spend my money on that. But if we put vampires in front of the narrative, we get more of a wide range of audience. As you can see, y'all, I have some from Dusk Till Dawn. I have the recent Color Purple musical. I had to put Kurt from The Thing here because, baby, when they did their reenactment of The Thing scene, it better not be no bad blood in here. If so, you're getting burnt up. I love that scene. I got Suge Avery down in the juke joint. We got a little Lost Boys because we're really getting deep into that vampirism, along with things like Brotherhood. Even getting into, there was heavy from Dusk Till Dawn energy if we ever took that movie serious with the two brothers in there. And something like Honey Dripper, where we're also getting into things like juke joints and, music and the secular atmosphere of it. Ashley, why do these things work when they shouldn't?
Girl, I think like we were kind of talking about before, I think when you have good direction and a stellar cast, you can do almost anything. And like I said, I think where he's on point with it is that he wasn't, like I said, this was not for him. This was for the people. You could tell that this film was for the culture. And I think everybody saw the vision of it. And I think when you're doing it that way, and it's not just about you and you wanting to be this extraordinary, different type of director, I think your vision can be made like manifest. Like, I don't think it needs all of the pomp and circumstance. And I think he had a crew and cast who was willing just to go down whatever road he did. And when you let go of your inhibitions, I think you can make beautiful things. And I think that that's how this worked. Also, it was like the weaving in and out was seamless. It didn't stop being horror because he introduced a musical element. It enhanced that already, right? Like the hoodoo, the mysticism, the spirituality. It just enhanced that. It didn't take away from anything. So any of the notes, changes, or tonal shifts that we saw all played upon each other. It wasn't like, okay, we're in, what movie am I in now?
Yeah.
The transitions were smooth. I think that made the difference for me.
I think it was because he wasn't trying to be pretentious with the right. Now, I love a good, and Ashley and myself, we have had our bouts, especially because we love to support our own and watch whatever the latest Black film that's dropping. It's a Black cast. We're here for it. But there seems to be a tendency to want to just dive into what could at times be testing my patience with the pretentious visual, and we're getting into the artsiness and art house of it all, and ooh, it's an intertwining and an inner meaning, and it's so deep. I appreciated that this story was presenting face value exactly what it was, and we ain't have to go look behind no damn bushes with a butterfly to get to it. It was immediate. I miss really simplistic storytelling, and it helped us digest every single genre shift that we got, and it wasn't problematic. And I love the fact that for anybody who did watch the trailer or just know, because y'all, we be deep in the film streets, so it was like, oh, Ryan's coming out with a vampire movie. It was like, vampires, really, Ryan? It was a testament to the film because we don't get any vampires until damn near an hour in. So for anybody who thought we were going to be all in, it was like, oh well, no, we have to be sad and really get into these characters and learn people and build and live in this world before you ever see a vampire. It could test people patience. They could feel like they're wasting their time. This movie didn't even feel, I have watched this movie 3 times now, once in the theaters, twice on bootleg, 3 times though. And every single time it never felt like, oh my god, it's feeling long-winded, because I was worried about it. I was like, no, everything flows as far as pacing really, really well. Thank you so much, Opal, for the $9.99. Love this movie and love the both of you ladies. Oh, thank you so much in your incredible reviews. Thank you so much, Opal. Most definitely appreciate you and all the love. Said Idlewild too. Yes, there was definitely abundance.
Definitely
as much as I
Idlewild.
love Idlewild, the way I've been trying to post my little intro on Instagram with Idlewild, PJ, and Rooster, and they won't let it upload. It pissed me off. It was very, very, very Idlewild. But even though all of these elements were here, I don't really go off and watch too many reviews because we don't want anything to affect what we're about to say here. But so far, even in the case of what we're seeing or the main things in this film, I haven't heard this man mentioned, and I'm not understanding why. Because watching it, I borderline thought, is this the Robert Johnson story?
The Crossroads. That's why.
Is this the Robert Johnson story? Because it's giving Robert Johnson's legend and then some. Now, just a little, just bare minimum of, for anybody who doesn't know, I think everybody would know about his legacy by now, but Robert was this blues man who supposedly sold his soul to the devil at a Mississippi crossroad for the ability to play the guitar like nobody else and sing the blues like nobody else. I'm trying to get into that success and get me out of these sharecropper Mississippi circumstances. Of course, he finds the success, but he mysteriously dies at 27. He's a part of that, like that first increment into that legendary 27 club of people who pass away. And it's, under mysterious circumstances. When we got into the Crossroads and really getting into Sammie's character and his narrative, this is what I saw. I was like, y'all didn't see this? Was it just me, Ashley?
No, immediately I told you, I was like, girl, what the? I said, I thought we was going down to them crossroads because as a part of the lore, right, he wasn't innately talented. It was like he was sitting up, he would go to the bars and, he really wanted to be a part of this secular world and just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically gets this proposition to go meet the devil at the crossroads and he can get whatever he wants in turn if he just gives his soul away. And he came out playing like, I don't know. There's an amazing doc on Netflix that you can watch. I think it's called Devil at the Crossroads.
Yeah.
And it kind of tells the story. But there's real life accounts of the talent he didn't have before and what he had after. But even from the tone, the look of everything, you're thinking, okay, this is a young Sammie from the guitar, the way he's holding the guitar.
Yeah.
I definitely saw the influence immediately. I was like, okay, this is where we're going.
I don't know why it's not, being mentioned. I don't know if it's just because we black. Especially when we got to the end and we saw like older Sammie, I was like, and even though this man didn't, live past the age of 27 and he's a part of that 27 club, just as far as what he would look like, I was like, he kind of looked like this man, but that's a whole different musician who's talented all on his own. But I just wanted to mention him and the impact that I felt like his story had on this film, as far as just the energy and the atmosphere that it was delivering. I thought we was gonna end off with Sammie standing at a crossroad and he was gonna be at the gates. Girl, I didn't know what was gonna happen.
But he did have a crossroad experience.
He did.
Ultimately.
No, I thought it was gonna be a manifestation. I was like, is he coming? When he gonna come offer you? Like, what's gonna happen? But I just wanted to just mention that, just to make sure my eyes weren't playing tricks on me, because I was waiting on the legend to be mentioned or framed a certain way. I was like, no, this is just maybe something that Ryan was feeling that we definitely was not going to miss. Now, we have a robust cast of folks here. We got legends, we have diversity, and we have some newcomers. Now, I want to speak on the diversity before I go anywhere else because when I saw the Chinese people in town, I was like, Ashley, she was like, yeah, that's a part of history that is often whitewashed. I had never seen that.
Mhm.
If there's a film with it, let me know where it is. I haven't seen every film walking, but when I saw, them owning the stores and this and was going to do my homework, I was like, oh, that was really, really cool for Ryan to do that. Cause he didn't have to. We didn't that it wasn't, that necessary, but to just increment that, just to give that visual and give that history, even when we have the dance number and we see their heritage fluttering in there with the twerking and everything else. I thought that was just really, really great. But actually, what did you think about the casting? Getting here, my first instinct, because I know a lot of pretty much everybody came for Ryan and for Michael B. Jordan. And of course, we have Michael B. Jordan doing double duty as Smoke and Stack. Jack O'Connell and Miles Caton, this newcomer here, Miles was everything here. I was like, who is this? I love when we get the introduction of a fresh face. Y'all know how me and Ashley we want to see a fresh face, Lord. We want to see a new actor. And not that we don't love our legends. And like I said, we have a really great cast. We have, Delroy Lindo. There are just some names here. But these people have set their stakes. And these people are getting older. Respect to them. But when we get a fresh face, as far as I could see, this is Miles' first film. Miles is also a singer in his own right. And I thought he was lip singing for a minute. I was like, I wonder if this is actually him or if he's just performing. No, these are his songs, the guitar, the whole nine. That was all him. He's actually a young up and coming musician. And I thought he held his own, especially standing next to the likes of somebody like Michael B. Jordan or Delroy, people who are seasoned in the game, and make villains great again. Give these villains some villainy. Give them something to do in these films. Make it make sense. I swear villains don't be villain like they used to, but Remmick the vampire here was doing and giving everything I ever needed him to give. Ashley, what did you think about the cast and who were standouts to you?
Oh, baby, Miles immediately, because I don't think it's talked about enough how challenging it can be to be put up in your, I don't know if this is his freshman
It's his
role,
first film. This is his first film.
first one, but to be surrounded by like Delroy Lindo and a Michael B. Jordan, and you're surrounded by greatness, and then to not even have a super overstated role in terms of his
Mhm.
character. He's not super brash or like braggadocious or really, forward. And then, like I said, you have Michael Jordan here with two times. And I think for him to be able to shine through in the midst of this with like this quiet essence throughout the film, but really, whenever he was on screen, your eyes were on him. Like
Yeah.
you didn't lose focus. He didn't get drowned out by anyone around him, even when he's singing in that car ride. And his cousin turns to him and is like,
Woo! Oh, we're gonna make some money. We're gonna make some money.
exactly. But his voice was the standout. He was the standout. I loved him. And baby, when Remmick hit the river dance, I said, oh, okay. All right. I'm I'm over, I'm a fan of understated performances. I don't think everything has to be over the top. I like a quiet confidence. And those two were absolutely the standouts for me. My girl Ruby from
Yes.
Lovecraft is going to deliver every single time in every single role, and I'm glad she got bent. I'm glad. It was good.
No. Do you know when I was looking at the cast and I was looking and the preacher, I say, is that Savant? That's Savant from
Oh,
Girlfriends.
Abram, what's his name?
Girl,
Not Earl. What was his
Poetry
name?
Slam. I can't remember his name. I
Talking
think
about with
it's
his vagina. Yes.
yes. But old school Poetry Slam,
Saul
Savant from
Williams.
Girlfriends. You
Saul Williams.
Saul Williams. Who put it in the chat? Thank you. Saul Williams. Girl, I say that is Savant from Girlfriends. I was so excited. I was just excited. Even and I should know his name by now because he has been very present in Hollywood, but he's never he's always playing like a side role. Big Baby Cornbread, who was working the door. I really like the callbacks to like just reach and get these actors and who he decided to put together here. Everybody was working together as a whole. Give Delroy more work. Like I've always thought Delroy Lindo was underutilized and he's just absolutely awesome. He's going to show up, but we expect Delroy to show up. We expect Michael to show up. This newcomer here, Miles, I look forward to whatever. Because boy, who told you to have all that stank on it like that? Like the soul in the voice. I just knew that wasn't his voice. I was like, this is very mature. That can't possibly be him singing. It's him, y'all. It is him. It is him. Absolutely did everything. Everybody did an exceptional job. But before we, pour everything on to Jack O'Connell, y'all be on the lookout for him, especially my horror people who are in the chat. I see that he is going to be in 28 years later. I'm going to be checking for him over there because he did a great job here. But how did you feel about Michael B. Jordan portraying two characters?
You know what? So, Tyra feel how she feel about Michael B. Jordan. And when you overhear in this space, you gonna hear it. But I've always thought Michael has delivered solid performances in most of the things. I'm not a huge consumer of all of his work, but he cute or whatever. But so I didn't have really a ton of expectation going into it. But I mean, I was here from the accent, honey, from that low Southern drawl to the handoffs. Everything I thought was seamless for the most part, and I only watched it twice on the bootlegs. But from what I could see, it gave very seamless. I didn't get any interruption or like, okay, this character is bleeding into the other character. Yeah. I felt like they were very distinct. I even had mentioned to Tyra, like, okay, I thought this one was going to be the bad one, but he's okay. They have two different personalities. I really thought there was going to be an issue there. But no, I thought he did an amazing job. I thought this was very challenging, and I think he lived up to the expectation.
Now, y'all know, especially when it's a period drama and the type of acting that I like to consume. Peace to them brothers. I'm Jonathan Majors, Nate Parker, where you at? But y'all over there doing nonsense, so you can't be here. Michael B. Jordan, though he's not, the first person I look to when I go to, exceptional acting. What he was able to do here and the toll it must have taken to portray two people and give them distinctive traits to where you're getting, okay, that's Smoke and that's Stack. Because it could have been easy, like, oh, really, Michael, you just gonna rest on, okay, I wear blue, he wears red, and that's all we're gonna get. There was enough definition between the two for me to know the difference and just how complicated maybe those scenes could have been for him to interact with either a stunt or maybe even nothing there. We really don't know, but it was really, really seamless. And the accent, it was serving. A lot of the times it was serving, and then sometimes you'll get Michael, but I would never say that I felt like he was out of his depth. I felt like he executed it in the best way that he could. And often my complaint with Michael B. Jordan is kind of the tempo kind of remaining the same and me not seeing, I guess, more growth in him for how long he's been acting. I'm seeing it here, and I'm looking forward to him stretching it a little bit, because that's one of the reasons why I was like, oh, there you go over there with Ryan, resting on pretty. What you doing, Michael? No, Michael really popped out here, and I was really proud of what he was able to do, because I'm not going to lie and act like I was like, Michael peeing twins. What? Who said that? Whose idea was that? I was proven wrong, and he executed it well.
He did. I was there. To be honest with you, this is the first role where I viewed him as a grown man, and I saw Just Mercy, and he's grown over there, but this just hit totally different. I was like, okay, this is somebody Uncle Nim over here. Like, I believed him, and that's all I looked for in a performance. Do I believe you as this character or these characters? And I did.
Yeah, I was just happy to see this, because the pinnacle for Michael's acting for me, I didn't feel like he had gotten beyond Fruitvale Station, because I felt like he was exceptional there. And of course, Killmonger gonna Killmonger. We was all standing at attention when that happened. But I was like, I would really love to see, does he have to, make his way a little further from Ryan to really push himself, or have a director to go, hell no, delivery. You know how them directors could get. And I was like, okay, no, we're pushing it, and I'm here for it. But put Miles in some more stuff.
Dane, you know what I mean. Michael B. Jordan don't give grown man most of the time. I don't give a damn. He's 38. I know. Yeah, I know.
We know, baby. Let's go on. But Who's the sinner and why? Because what your mouth tastes like. It was a lot of what your mouth tastes like in this film, okay? What I wasn't expecting, which I should have because the movie's called Sinners, which I love. The trailer didn't give a whole lot away as far as what we were going to expect, but it was a lot of hoochie coochie in the juke joint, if you get what I mean.
Listen.
Because spit in my mouth. Excuse me?
Lord, jeez Louise.
You want some of this mouth or not? We put mouth on people, coochie on people. We twerking down in the juke joint. It was a den of lust. But yeah, this was very hell hell in Harlem type energy. It just felt a bit like a den of sin. But who's the sinner here and why? For anybody who expected to just be jumped on by vampires the moment that the movie came on, you were in for something else because for the first half hour, we're getting the gang all here. We're getting the gang back together. We are meeting Smoke and Stack, of course, all the way down from Chicago, wanting to deal with the devils that they know and open up a juke joint, open up our own club, have our own business. A lot of this film is just layered in, of course, at this time, men wanting to be men, stake a claim of something that we own, ownership, and prospering in that way, having a place to call our own. Yeah, there's that. But to do that, we need everybody. We need a cook. We need a doorman. We need this, that, and the third. But on the way, every single lusty temptation that you could imagine is there. First of all, the fact that everybody here said no. Everybody here, apart from Sammie, who was eager to get there, via his own, omission. I just want to play my music, the type of music I want to play, whether it's, it's that, but we are coming from this preacher boy choir, church-esque preacher son background, yet we can't wait to get in this club and play secular music. But we don't just want to play secular music. No, we eating coochie, we drinking, having a little smoke. We doing a whole lot in here that wouldn't be right under the guise of the Lord. You know what I mean? And then we have things, of course, we have wrath, we have pride, we have greed, we have gluttony. When I think about gluttony and the way that we meet Delroy Lindo, baby, no, where? What $20? I don't want it. But we got some of this good old Irish, this deep Chicago corn liquor. Or I could take all the liquor I want. Hell yeah, I'm coming. What time you going to be there? What time you going to be there? And then we have multiple people, like, I know I'm married and whatnot, but I'm going to come on down to the club and cheat on my husband. And that's all the way with Haley's character, Mary. And then I was like, okay, the Chinese, I was like, where do they come in? There is that previous scene before they even make their way to the club. First of all of the adornments for the club are red. Let's get there. But there's this greed of, okay, what are you offering? And the wife in the scene steady going up on the price. And it's all about kind of greed. And we get that kind of with everybody else. And then, of course, we have, the ritualistic, the magic, all of that up there with Annie's character. But as far as Annie and Mary are concerned, we lusted for these men. That's why we here. That's why we really here. There's, a love, a lust, and a desire. But the temptation was very, very real. I thought it was really thoughtful that every single person here was pretty much a sinner in their own way. Actually, who was a sinner and why were they a sinner?
Yeah, they were all damn sinners. And I actually thought Mary's sin wasn't just about her being married, because honey, hell, all the women was married. Pearline was married too, busting it down with young Sammie. I thought hers was more about denial. And not being true to who she was, right? Because we have this whole one drop thing, this
we're gonna get to that one,
this quadroon octoroon of it all. So that's what I really thought about her. As far as Delta Slim, played by the Delroy Lindo, of course he was a drunk. He was a lush. He was an alcoholic, excess, gluttony, all of those things. Pearline was a hoe. You know what I mean? Because, girl, 1 minute you're saying, I'm a married woman, Sammie. The next one, that dress is coming up around your waist, and he's licking it like an ice cream cone, like his cousin told him to. And as far as, what's her name? Alice? Is it Alice? Annie, excuse me.
Yeah, Annie.
Annie's character, definitely, she's a hoodoo practitioner. Like, for all intents and purposes, she is a witch. And we know how that would have been vilified at the time, especially kind of walking that fine line. Because as we know, there were a lot of people who by day claimed Christianity, but still had the practice of hoodoo that they followed through with. I loved this just as kind of an expose on Black culture of the time, because this was very true to a lot of situations. We had a lot of indiscretions, and the juke joint was the place where they met as far as what our cultural lore says. So I liked this. And then as far as Sammie, he's the only one that you could claim initially wasn't a sinner, and
Yeah.
that his journey was really about him becoming a sinner and then finding salvation. So I really enjoyed the storylines of all those, and that they weren't perfect, but they weren't all bad either. We
Yeah.
saw this thread of and note of compassion, even with Smoke and Stack throughout, as volatile as they
I
were.
was gonna say they were wrath.
As bad as the history was, right? Because they had been working with the mafia, like they came down, they were bootleggers, they were all of these things, but the love that they had for each other was real. So I liked how we kind of got to see multiple faces on each of
Yeah.
these characters. And at the end of the day, they was gonna ride for each other. You know what I
I
mean?
did. I just like the fact that these Smokehouse twins, as attractive as they are, their reputation around town precedes them. Like, you guys are a tyrant, you guys are trouble. And even though initially everybody says no, they're offering temptation in a sense of, well, I got some you want, I got liquor, I got money, I got this. We can turn a profit. We can just like, well, all right, cool, I'll come. Like, no, stay inside. Stay inside, because the temptation is real. I just like the thread of sin throughout the film, because I was like, sinners. I wonder why I picked that title. Cause it was Hoochie Coochie Man. Everybody knows him, yeah. Everybody was sinning all up and through the juke joint. Speaking of sinning, are we born into sin, or is sin a choice? I feel like that thread is really, really strong with the Smokehouse twins, because you have them feel like they're enact to just be this way because of who their father was or who their mother was, or just the life that the hand that life dealt them, as far as the abuse and things that they endured. We can't be anyway. We always have to follow this path. I think the testament, as far as Sammie is concerned, and why they're so hell bent. Okay, cool. You're begging to be here and perform. Yeah, you're just here for this one night, and then you have to go back. Why would you want to leave the sanctuary? Like, is he beating you? Is the preacher beating on you? What's really going on there? Do we need to lay hands on him? It's like, no.
Yeah.
I just want to play my music. I just want to do that. And it's just like, yeah, I just don't understand that. If that's the path that was created for you, just go over there and be a preacher's kid. It's great over there. Why would you want to be here and be, succumb to this? We didn't pick this, we were giving this. But it often feels like throughout the film, the Smokehouse twins have an expectation of, well, if you guys are going to put this on me, I'm going to embed it and not, venture out or try to be anything other than that. And I think we see this with Stack and Mary over here, who tells her to go to hell more times than one, because white witch, get out my face. Get out my face. He's trying so hard to drive her away. And even when we get into Annie and her magic and those occult rituals, and get into Smoke and what he doesn't believe in the faith, and there's so much trauma attached to his relationship with Annie, because he's equating the loss of their child to why these things don't work, why I can't maybe grow beyond who I am innate to be, this corrupt juke joint, shoot him in the ass, just everything negative. I tried to maybe grow beyond that. I even tried to go to be a soldier, and that all brought me right back here to nothing. Forget faith. What is it? Meanwhile, we still have a little bit of it left, even though we're suffering from loss, because we wearing the what is that around his neck?
Girl, don't get me. I don't know the name of that.
The trinket that she made for him as far as protection, around his neck. So there is some of that there. And then of course we have Mary and her one drop rule. We rarely see this as far as passing films. When we have a character who is passing, normally they're opting to pass. And I think we've seen a little bit of this. I'm like, didn't we just see this in Jazzman's Blues with Tyler Perry? But Mary is down in the trenches, because I never wanted to pass. I just wanted to be with you regardless of this one drop. Though I am married and have a very white husband, I just want to be with you. And it was always like a detriment to me. I don't care how much love was there for this time in a 1932, passing or not. I could never be with you, be able to, protect you, be this, that, and the third, which, entails why that situation was so tempting to them in the end to want to turn, because I can be all those things to you as a vampire, but just as a black man in 1932, girl, I'm not trying to get strung up just for us to be together or have our life
That
be
part.
tormented. But Mary wasn't feeling that. She wanted to be with that man. Ashley, what did you think about seeing as far as kind of being born into it or being a choice, as well as the women in the Stackhouse twins' life?
Absolutely. So, I mean, there is this idea, right, in any of like the Abrahamic faiths that the sins of the father can carry down to the second, third, fourth generations, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Eddie Kane Daddy said it best in Five Heartbeats. You ain't gonna be because I ain't. You know what I mean? And I think that is perpetuated or was perpetuated, especially in the black community where reputation was everything. When you grow up in the small town South and your father was a terrible man, he's known to be that, your kids ain't gonna be ish either. And that's the
Mhm.
name and the brand that you carry. And it's really sad that they kind of wore that like a cloak and felt like they could never be anything more than that because of it.
Mhm.
And I mean, conversely, you see Sammie, he's the son of a preacher man, and it's like you have a choice. You don't have to do this. You don't
Yeah.
have to be this because your people are good and this is the stock that you come from.
Yeah.
But I also like how the sins of the father thing comes down to Mary as well, because we find out that it's her, what did she say? Her granddaddies
Yeah.
have
Her mother's, I think she said her
her
mother's
mother's
dad
dad.
was half
Yeah.
black.
Again, sins of the father. I mean, it's coming down the line. You know what I mean? And now she's stuck. I am never a fan of the tragic mulatto trope, though, Tyra. I'm never
Yeah.
going to. The
Yeah.
idea that they can never be whole and they can never find themselves, and oh, I'll just never be happy because I can't. I'm too white to have my black man, and I'm too black to have my white man, and I'll just never be happy because I'm living on the in between. Girl, find something to do. That's the thing.
Ashley,
Just don't want to be lynched, and I'm not mad at him. Leave
yeah.
where she stands, girl. Go on and live
He
your
literally talks her down, calls her everything but a child of God. And she's, nope,
good.
I'm staying here. Nope. Put me out. What you gonna do? Throw me out?
She just came to be an agent of chaos. So at the end of the
Absolutely.
day,
And I love that. I love that she was an agent of chaos. There is no happenstance that she is the one who brings the chaos inside the joint. She is the one when, of course, we are first presented with the vampires. Well, I'm safe. You know, even though this one drop, I have this complexity and I really want to be with this black man when it comes to getting the intel, because, you know, I can protect you. You don't go out there. I'm going to go out there because it's me. I'm going to be
yeah,
safe. They're not going to hurt me. Not
girl,
me. They think I'm a white woman. Why would I? I mean, but you are. I'm not playing with you on this one drop. Um, I'm gonna have, you know, that protection, and then of course getting into the first temptation that would be let back into the club, you know, set you astray. It was a white woman. I was like, Ryan.
no, immediately. I mean, I'm just saying it is what it is. And then as far as Annie, I, but I mean that she represented who the black woman has been in the community since the dawn of man.
Yeah,
In time, I'm going to be that stable one. I'm going to be the one that prays for you every day. I'm the reason you and your brother are alive to this day, quiet as it's kept,
yeah,
because I've been doing all the roots and everything I can to keep you all alive, and I am still your North Star. And we still see that love reciprocated in a
mhm,
way. Of course, we saw it in a brief 2-minute bend over on the counter, but it definitely was deeper than that. Like, Annie, I'm the keeper of your secrets. I was the mother of your child. I
yeah,
still hold that place of value. But then also, and I mean, we're going down tropes. I'm not going to say the word because I don't want to get the live demonetized, because they demonetized me last time I said it. But there is a specific trope that I feel as though she was feeling, especially even she's coming to be the cook
yeah.
of it
Oh
all.
yeah,
She's still that all
the
knowing.
spammy role.
Yes. And so, I mean, I wrestled with that a little bit, but I get the intention and the design. And I like that they didn't make her asexual. I do like that we got
I
to see
did.
her, as a passionate, lively woman. And I adored her. I would have liked to
She's
see more of that
beautiful.
relationship.
You
Yeah.
know, when we were watching it, I was like, I wish they had, which I guess, you know, a product of its time, and she is supposed to be, you know, the root rope, the occult, that witch that, oh, we don't walk past her house in that community. Do we really believe that? Meanwhile, we sneaking and getting a girl, give me something for this foot. Um, but I was like, I did want her to be a little bit more alluring and desirable. I didn't want her to be, because I need you to, and even the way he approached it, and he's like, "You gonna make me say it? You gonna make me say I want you? You gonna make me say I miss you? Hell yeah! I'm I absolutely am. Like, yeah, there's, very much so that, but she did. I do love that she wasn't. If we would have just cut her off at the trope of I'm here for this man, I'm here to be the cook, even though I have my practices. If it weren't for Annie, we would have made it in the movie as far as we did, because she did have knowledge, because she is into the occult. I was here for that. I was absolutely here for that. But yeah, we're all about a choice. These twins running around with all this wrath like they didn't have a choice. You had a choice too, but the sins of the father, we got to stick to that. But we get a not so new beginning here. We get a not so new beginning. This is the portion where I really wanted to show why, even watching the film or getting into the twins, why something like the vampires would maybe be a bit more alluring, because we're moving back to the Chicago to get with the devils we know under the umbrella of a new beginning. You know what? We're going to have our own spot. This man is selling us this property. We're going to make it a juke joint and make profit and, just be real legit businessman and not have to bust, scuffle, and shoot just to survive. This man never intended, not one bit, for them to have ownership. This is actually a slaughterhouse disguised as a business move, at which we have new men coming to town with money, preferably black men or any other indigenous face. Who knows? I like the indigenous representation too when they rolled up on the white people. They didn't want to listen. They ain't want to listen to the tribe. He was like, I don't even know what he said. I felt like, that ain't our business. Come on, get on. The sun going down. Get on in the back of the wagon. We ain't got time. You trying to say this white lady at the door. We told you he ain't who he said he was, girl, but we were protecting our own. This was very, very telling. It was very getting evoking emotions of, massacre situations and things of the past, as to where, they never gave us nothing and won't really let us have anything. How did you feel about this deal that was never really a deal and it was supposed to be a slaughter situation?
Everything was triple K adjacent or overt, right? Even from, like you said, when the indigenous vamp hunters came through, we see the cloak, we see the sheets on the thing. Y'all get what y'all deserve. I love how Ryan didn't stray away from the time and what it really was at the time, right? What is it? Crossover ain't nothing but a double cross, like JT Matthews said. So we already knew what timing it was on, but we weren't burdened or belabored by that point. We have other things going on. I like it as a backdrop and not our focal point. I think so many of our movies, films, and shows are so heavily baited on race and that struggle and the white power structure and all of that. I was glad that they was kicked to the curb. I'm glad it was just a side note that we already knew. And at the end, when he got his Rambo on, it went all down. You know what this did? It made for a good final scene. I was here for the third act. With all of the Rambo-ness of it all, I was absolutely here for it. And we wouldn't have got it without the triple K. So, right, doing.
But I appreciated that it was an undertone narrative in the story. Like, of course, it's like, common knowledge, this is in 1932 Mississippi. And even when we met him, well, the KKK don't exist no more. That's not a thing. Like, sir, please tell it to your mama. Just those are just when they're buying the property and they're touching the floor, they're like, you clean these floors? Look at what the hell's on it. Like, what is this? This show look like blood. Just like, oh no. But like, I just like that it wasn't a constant need to really dig into the what now feels like the bare bones when we go to a period piece of a film. Oh Lord, sweet chair. Okay, we love those films, but I'm glad that we didn't make it just so heavy-handed here, because it can come off as like trauma corn. It's like, we know that those things exist. Can we get a story with it and navigate around it?
Exactly.
But what I'm going to do is navigate showing this love and give all 170 of you guys a moment.
How many? Hold on.
170. 170.
I know y'all playing.
170 of you guys to hit that like button. We most definitely appreciate you for being here, and we will be right back.
I see the parties and diamonds. Sometimes when I close my eyes, 6 months of torture you sold to some forbidden paradise. I loved you truly. You gotta laugh at the stupidity, 'cause I've made some real big mistakes, but you make the worst one look fine. I should have known it was strange. You only come out at night. I used to think I was smart, but you made me
oh, bleed me dry like a vampire. Because they were. Maybe they was bleeding everybody dry. I see here that let me go scroll up. Did I miss it, Ashley? Oh, here we go. It was so many comments. Thank you so much, Bookworm, for the $4.99 super sticker. Most definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Bookworm, stay looking out. Oh, there you go. You know when some comments get in the chat, they love to make something disappear. But yes, back to the matters at hand, and leaving this as to why something would be such a temptation as strong as, maybe it wouldn't be so bad to be a vampire. We get into Sammie. Get into Sammie in his narrative, who unbeknownst to me, because of course we were putting Michael in the forefront because he is the well-known star, this was very much so Sammie's narrative and his story in the strong front for me. But we get into the history of music and this lineage of talent like Sammie's and what it serves. We have the beginning and statements being made like the historical uses of music, and it's a part of our culture in this tradition, but also we can call spirits and conjure a couple of things depending on how powerful our voice and our talent is. And Sammie, because baby, that voice was voiced, and I just knew that wasn't him. I was like, what mature man? Who is this? No, it's, little 20. I think maybe he's 21 or 20. It's his. Yes, he's young, girl. He's young. He is young. But getting into Sammie, we get into, of course, the legendary, you can't serve two masters. Serving of two masters in the need, or not necessarily because he wasn't trying to. We're attracting and awakening a supernatural element. And of course, we have Remmick, the vampire, wanting Sammie to use him to awaken his very own ancestry. Like, excuse me, Ireland, I wish, no, smoking a pancake? No, we will not. We absolutely will not. But I really, really enjoyed this situation with Sammie. So many things here were just so drenched in nuance and metaphors and this allegory for what this could really, really mean. When we're getting into the history of music, you can really place that all over Hollywood or even the music industry, or maybe even your everyday job, to where, or an MBA, whatever, where you have this shiny, happy, whatever, white energy coming to be a testament of, it's like it's awakening or attracting the supernatural. But this talent also awakens and attracts, financial wealth, money, people clamoring around you, the industry wanting to use you for your talent. But exactly what are you left with? Of course, it's for financial gain for themselves. But the moment, especially as a Black person, whether it's, musicianship, your athletic ability, the moment that you are talented, they gonna come calling. They gonna come calling, and of course, even though it's ancestry here, most often we want to use it for our own financial gain. Actually, how did you feel about Sammie's narrative and really getting into the music? Not just his talent here, but the running theme of music in the film. When we get that one long shot, when it turned into West Coast, I think Bootsy, it was some Bootsy references. Just really getting into how long and how far the music travels back, and how, it's passed on traditionally. And it got West Coast. We had some twerkers. We had a whole bunch of everything, and we end in this massive fire. I thought it was really, really beautifully done.
Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest kudos I'd want to give Ryan with the film, because I feel like this is just a nod to excellent storytelling. Mm-hmm. As the film opens up, we hear Annie giving the lore and the history of those that are gifted with song and how they can conjure the ancestors or bring this thing about. And then as we're watching the movie and we see little Peanut Head Church Boy, aka Sammie, come, we're like, okay, this is what this is. But I love the visual representation of what that looks like. I don't care whatever your faith is, whatever your belief system, whether you were born in the church or in some more traditional spirituality or system, you know that how we usher in a spirit or usher in the presence of God, right, is through song. It's through singing, it's through song, it's through instrumentation. And I loved how that was on display here, because we didn't see just Sammie's ancestors. We saw that this called to everyone, and that the spirit sat then in the juke joint, and even so much that it attracted Remmick. Now, again, like you said, definitely metaphor for life, right? Are imitating life, in that the colonizers gonna colonize. Yeah. Oh, no, it called me. So now if I consume you, I can take that gift and I can use it for my purposes, whatever that looks like, right? So I loved the visual representation of that. And I think that's what film is supposed to do. It's supposed to get you to think and think in a different way, right? I get to see what this looks like in another way, but we see it all around us every day. I think it was artful. I know when we were watching it, because we watched this all together the first round, and I was like, where did I
Where we at? Where did this come from? Is that West Coast? Is that a turntable?
I said, is she twerk? Is that a twerk? Like, double tap it back, Tyra. Like, is she? But then, like you said, we saw Grace's ancestors. We saw everyone come through, and it was like, oh, this gift is powerful. And then what that looks like if it were to get into the wrong hands. Loved everything about it, and how it's going to attract any and everything. It's going to bring everything to you. It's about what you do with it, and I think that was the biggest part of Sammie's journey. Now knowing I have this gift, I didn't know it before when I was in the church house. I thought I was just me. I thought I needed to see something different. Now I'm out here living my best life, but what does this gift do in the wrong hands? And I enjoyed that.
It is. I just love how it was just so telling. He was so happy to roll up and consume him. Like, yeah, I'm getting me a piece of that. I'm trying to call my own damn ancestors. Like, The way they protected him at the door, even though it was really brief, but when Daryl rolled in and say, you can't have him, he's ours. Hell yeah, Daryl. Hell yeah, Daryl. Absolutely. You will not be taking Sammie for the greater good, as if you were going to let us go anyway. Now, he's ours. It's like, yes, protect him. Protect him, child. Oh, Lord. But leaving this here and getting into the actual vampires, because Ryan said, these are my vampires. These are my vampires. Now, I do like the resurgence of vampires, and I know everybody loves a good Twilight, but as far as horror fans or, alike, they feel like that's kind of where the genre was really starting to die. And we weren't really getting into the vampires, and what we were getting, like, these films are like really unsuccessful, even with something like Abigail that I don't really think performed. But ever since like Abigail or Nosferatu and this film here, it feels like the vampires are making a comeback, and I'm here for old school traditional monster, werewolves that we've also seen films on, making a comeback here in horror, because it's been real obsolete for the past few years. But these vampires are hive-minded, which we of course have seen. We do have, the traditional, you use the stakes to kill them, of course, the sunlight, the garlic, this and that. But unlike other vampires that we see, sometimes it take a little long to change. You have weeks, you got a whole week after that. That's too late. Or no, these vampires change instantly. Not only do we change instantly, but there is understated bloodlust, but it's not like a lust that we can't compose ourselves or conduct who we once were to we're maneuver our way into a space, because this movie is very much so also with the trope, you can't come in unless you're invited in. There's that, but they also they are I forgot what you said, Ashley, about why you were like, what kind of vampires are these?
Oh, just because of their full awareness, their ability to control.
Yeah, their ability to kind of, instantly suppress everything, to just kind of, it's like literally you're bit and you hop right back up and you're just kind of on go. That was really different, but it works well with the film because this is all, of course, done in one night. But the special effects were really good. I felt like they were good. I wish it wasn't so dark at times, because I really wanted to see more, but I'm sure that was done for reasons. I think they were subtle. They weren't, too much. I thought the vampires were very unique, and what we got was really sufficient. Actually, what did you think about these hive-minded, bloodlusting family of vampires?
I think the most interesting thing was, like you said, when you turn someone, because again, they are not feeding to kill. Apparently, they're feeding just to turn, which is different than any vampire anything. Now, I'm not in them horror streets, honey, but I was in them True Blood, in them Interview with a Vampire, and them Vampire Diary streets. Okay, so that's the extent of the lore I know about a vampire. So I got the garlic, the silver, whatever, the basic things. But I did think it was interesting that, again, they're not feeding to kill. They weren't just massacring. It was like, okay, let's create a vamp army, and that when they do feed, they get all of the memories, everything. They get the powers or abilities of the person. I thought that was really interesting. As far as just the look of them, I was like, okay, okay. I think, like you said, this happened all in the course of a day. So I can't
Yeah.
expect too much. I think that was just what we had to do, narratively speaking, to accomplish our purpose. Like, it can't take them a month of Sundays to turn, and it can't take them a month of Sundays to learn how to feed or be persuasive or get cleaned up and get back in the place.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, all right. In the short amount of time, I think he did what he could do in terms of continuity and as far as the vampire lore. I've seen much longer movies and shows that ruin all of this. So this was done well for me.
I thought the concept of the hive mindedness, even because I think a lot of people were aware of like we're going to bring vampires to this time period. Like, how exactly is that going to work? I think it was pretty genius, getting back into the metaphors as to why this would be so tempting. It's like, we don't care about the color of your skin. We're about community. This is a family. This is we're offering something here. We don't care who we bite. You're just joining in. But it's like, of course I will be, all powerful in comparison to your average everyday persons, be able to experience something I've never experienced. And as far as, black women and black men at this time, especially when we're getting into someone like Smoke and Stack or even Sammie and Delroy, what wouldn't be so tempting and alluring about this to kind of, I don't have to worry about any of the things that I ever have to worry about, your everyday struggles and problems as a black man. I'm no longer that. I'm a vampire. But to do that, you're going to lose all concepts of yourself and your identity. You're still yourself because we're still, with that, but you're an extension of this one person. So you're still losing a part of yourself. And of course, who wants to feed on someone? Yeah. But you can see why at the time in this period, this would maybe, this really not that bad. This really isn't that bad.
For the time,
We get this super chat here. Thank you so much for the $5. Black Bleach. This movie was commentary about culture vultures to me. They want our rhythm, but not our blues. It was very much that. it was very much that. That's why I really like the aspect of the vampire, and it's just kind of disguised as because he can pretty much feed, and it's not, and I like that. It's they're feeding, but they're not. We're instantly just turning people. Everybody we bite immediately turns into a vampire. We're not draining anybody. But it's like, well, yeah, there's that. But I still, it's not just about your blood or family or this. Your gift, if I can use that, I can awaken my own damn ancestry. I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, you're useful to me. It's very, very, very tempting. But I thought he did a good job with the time that he had because, baby, they weren't wasting no time. We were hopping right back the hell up. Yeah, when they was picking poor rotten clean in front of the club, I was like, excuse me? You get your ass. If you don't get all the way up out of here. But moving into, the battlegrounds of it all and us surviving till sunrise. Grace said no. Grace said no. Let's get to the real villain in the film. Baby, Grace said no. Now, actually, I want to hear your answer first.
Girl, go to hell.
No, at this point, the husband had been out. We've lost a lot of people. I love when we had cornbread in the front of the club. He said, he be your own people. You ain't going to let me in here, girl. Let me on in here. Let me in the club. Like, no, you're changed. And she's feeling like, not only have I lost my husband, but you are threatening to, take my daughter as well. It seems like, watching the film, because you can't come in unless you're invited in. Nobody ever invited him in, so we maybe could have made it to sunrise to fight another day. Grace said no and said, get in here. Ashley?
That's why she needed to go directly to the hot place immediately, all by herself. Because I remember asking you, we watched it twice. The second time, me and Tyra just watched it together alone. And I said, hold on, Tyra. I said, what? Okay, stop. I said, because the first time I was like, all right, what just happened? And so I said, let me watch it again. Watched it again. And I said, did this hoe just invite the people? I said, did they agree upon this? Like, why would you do? Like, we only had a couple more hours, Tyra. We could have made it till the morning when everybody could have lived. Great. Never should have brought her narrow tail over here. I don't think you abandoned reason. You saw what was outside. You saw how that man was changed out there. You saw somebody get attacked in front of your own two eyes, and you felt like you were big and bad enough that you were going to get out, run home, and save your daughter. If your daughter ain't saved, baby, you not going to be the one to save her until morning. But now you jeopardized everyone in here. Girl, I would have taken her out first. You ain't got to worry about the vamps. Because as soon as I felt like she was going to open her mouth to say something, I'm slicing your throat, Grace. What are you doing? And again, there wouldn't be a movie if she hadn't done this.
Yeah.
However, it pissed me the hell off because who gave you that? You ain't got no power, girl. You ain't got
I
no
was
power.
I
That
was
pissed me
mad at first. At first, I was mad,
off.
but once we got into just the narrative of the film, like I said in the beginning, every single person here was here for a different sin, and these are all sinners. Grace decided at this time to be selfish because prior to this, Smoke is in there like, you know what? No, we're just gonna like everybody just calm down. This isn't the moment to act irrational. Like, let's just wait it out. We got Annie giving all the tools and the knowledge. If they do happen, we got this garlic, make some steaks. We're in prep just in case something happens, but we're safe as long as we don't invite them in. And you have Grace like, okay, yeah, but my husband's out there. I've lost my husband. Weren't you the same man who just shot somebody in the ass because they happened to touch your truck? You all of this. There's all this wrath for that. But we got these vampires out here and you're not gonna do nothing. Grace decided to be selfish at that moment, getting back into that narrative of sinners.
But it was just so dumb, girl, because you're not going to live to make it to your daughter. So what's and what got me, it wasn't instant. She didn't do this at the door. She
No,
went
you
back and
know,
thought
you
about
know how I wasn't mad though. I wasn't mad because as soon as stuff go down in the streets, especially the narratives that we're getting now, when it's convenient, we're all people of color, and we all brothers. Like we all black and brown. We're all this, and there's when the time comes, there's a need to want to have all this unity. But
it.
when stuff pop off, eventually you pick a side and you stand with your own, and know those are those black problems. I
Well,
wasn't mad at this. Between this and Mary Sasha and her little one drop ass in there, I was like, Ryan has something to say. That's the way I interpret it. I might be hella wrong. Let me yeah, I thought we was family, girls. I thought we was people of color, girl. What happened? We ain't
and,
people of
and
color
that's
no more?
true. Social commentary, and I get it for the story, but it still pissed me the hell
It
off.
did. It did.
About.
I would have choked Grace the hell out. Thank you so much, Courtney, for the $4.99. Just wanted to give my fellow indie girl a shout out. Happy that I caught another live. Oh, thank you
Courtney
so much,
girl.
Courtney. Thank you. CJ is in the house. CJ's here. Hey, CJ.
CJ.
Vampire Romance is into thug love. The heart of Henry, he gonna put Henry somewhere. The heart of Henry will sway any woman. Thank you so much, CJ.
Thank you.
Let me scroll down. I think we have another one here. Darfalina is here showing love. Thank you so much. The way Grace was contemplating going out to the car with the monster she knew wasn't her husband definitely would have sent her to her maker. Child, the moment that she realized what was out there, Grace was calm up until the point that we mentioned the daughter. And Grace felt like in that selfish way, like how we get to, who are we if we stay in here and safe? What if they do harm others in the community or do harm mostly just my daughter? We come out of here and we're who exactly? I thought you were big bad, Smoke. You're not gonna do nothing. Weren't you just shooting people earlier? Yeah. Come on in here, mother suckers. I was like, Grace, no. What's wrong with you, girl? Thank you so much, Ill Magic, for the $4.99. The relationship between Stack and Sammie reminded me of the relationship I had with my uncle when I was a kid. Absolutely. I loved it. I loved all the moments that we got earlier where stuff wasn't going down in the DM, child. We have M Philosophy here with $9.99. Thank you so much. I thought Grace. That's what I said. That's what I said. I thought Grace was great commentary on POC unity and just black solidarity. See, this is why we be outside. This is why we be outside. Because that's what I saw. When it's cool, we all people of color. And then when it's not, baby, we separate real quick. Thank you so much. Because sometimes I think it be me. Let me see. Do I have done missing thing? I think I got everything. But yeah, Grace. Grace said no. We will not be holding up until sunrise. I'm going to invite him in, and that was all that Remmick needed to hear. Oh Lord, it was a whole lot. It was a whole lot. But even before leaving this, we do have this epic battle to which I was really glad. I was like, I would really hate to see. First of all, I love how Smoke was riding for the brother because baby, I ain't gotta hear nothing, I don't gotta see nothing. You heifer, One drop heifer, you been in here sucking on my brother. Pow, 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 pow. I'm shooting you immediately. He wasted no time. He shot her immediately. And of course, she popped back up. But we get towards the ending here where I was like, I really don't want him to have to kill his brother. Like, we really get to see what they mean to each other. And I was like, well, maybe we're going to switch the narrative. And he does have to kill the brother because he is kind of building this relationship. We learn early on from Stack that Smoke has always been kind of and we even see that throughout the club and the decisions that he's making. And yeah, you won't be coming in here spending no wood nickels, baby. Where's the money? This is a business and we're running one. We're not cheapening anything. We're not, that we got to be smart about it. This is a business. And even going back into their childhood where it was he who actually killed the father and buried him, and Stack was somewhere asleep. But we do see that he's more so that cornerstone of a Bruckner in the protector. And even when he's about to stab him, but he can't because of the mojo, because I saw y'all in the comments, they said it's a mojo. It was around his neck, and he was like, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. And he's like, you always did protect me. So I felt like we were kind of shifting that narrative over to Sammie, and it was like, I'm going to stick by my word and my commitment. When I picked you up from Savai, from the poetry slam, I told him, I'm going to return you, and I'm going to get that. If nobody makes it out of here, you're going to make it home. So I felt like we kind of went there. And then we get to the vampire, which was, I think it was kind of built to be not so like a big climactic situation with the murder. Even though it was good, I thought it was very poignant that we all ended up here in this water, and he started baptizing Sammie. I was like, what are we doing here? Why are you a vampire? Remmick, you Irish man. Why are you baptizing, Sammie in the blood in the name of Jesus? But I thought it was really a focus to have both of them end up in this water. Going back and watching it, you could take this scene and you think that they're both going to make it out. And we're getting this new beginning because we all end up kind of baptized in this water, and we get the big death and the thing in the head and everybody dying. But of course, we didn't. We don't know the faith at that moment of Mary and the brother. We just know that they're inside. But we made it out and made it out to sunrise. But if you're just watching it, you're going to assume that these two are going to make it. And then once we get kind of to the final situation and what looks to be maybe a new beginning in us putting this all behind us, you would expect Sammie to, I don't want to see a guitar. I don't want to see a mic. After this night, I don't want to do anything. You even have Smoke tell him to bury what's left of it. He's like, no, I can't do it. Like, I can't put this down. But just focusing on Smoke here, where it would look like a new beginning and him getting to walk away, getting more into Smoke's narrative and what he has connections to, is solely just been his twin brother, Annie, and their baby. And now that that's no longer here, what exactly do I have to look forward to or even want to be here to exist? So his new beginning was also symbolic of that necessary death. But in getting to that death, I'm going to go out in a damn blaze, and this is going to turn into Inglourious Basterds. I was like, oh, we're going out in a shootout, which was really, really that strong climax of the film, and them coming to get their jollies off thinking that they're going to slaughter some black men. Meanwhile, I'm waiting in the woods. And of course, we see him kind of ascend over into seeing Annie in their baby that they, never got to have. And that kind of being his happiness in his new beginning, even though he's dead. And I know I just said a lot, Ashley, but what did you think about all of these narratives, whether it was the ending death as far as the vampire and Sammie, the symbolism of them ending up in this water, the baptism, and these new beginnings looking completely different for these men?
Absolutely. And, transition is a new beginning. So I do think that it was definitely, again, another visual representation of what had happened. They were all forever changed, right? We had seen Sammie go into the depths of sin, honey. He was eating cooter on a cracker in there. And now he's forever scarred. He's marked literally in the face. And then now I think coming out of the water, he has a fresh start. And I think, like you said, both of them, this is a new start, whatever that looks like for for what is it? It's Smoke that's left, right? Smoke
Yeah.
is the one that's left now to do his Rambo. This was a perfect swan song for me. He didn't have anything else to live for. And he ultimately knew what it was. Like, okay, this is what y'all want. This is what you're gonna get. I was here for the Rambo of it all. I was here for take every last one of them out.
Ashley, you gotta watch some Tarantino. And I
Listen,
know you weren't gonna see the Tarantinos because you're not there. But between From Dusk Till Dawn, it was a little Django in here, and it was definitely some Inglorious Bastard. This was a Tarantino moment. It was.
well, I'm not giving him no credit after Pulp Fiction. But anyway, I loved it. Take them all out, cut them to the white meat. I loved everything about that. And he fulfilled his purpose. And I think it was perfect seeing Annie and his baby. It was almost like they're there waiting for him.
Yeah.
And I think that was his perfect exit in comfort. And he did everything that he could do in this moment. And we got to see the Triple K go down. I mean, he lit them boys up. And as far as Sammie, honey, he gonna go back to that church house with the guitar in tatters, holding on to it though, like you said, holding on still, but being able to live another day. I definitely think the water was symbolic of whatever that new was going to be. It looked very different for them, and I think that's life for all of us. New beginnings, transitions look different for us, and I was here for, like I said, I think it was a perfect swan song for Smoke.
Yeah, by the by the time we got here, which I thought was interesting because it's like, what does a new beginning look like? What we spoke on earlier, as far as the twins feeling like they are innate to be per se a sinner or be evil or have these nefarious ways because of who their father was, thinking that they couldn't choose their own path. And then we have Sammie kind of having that same energy put up on him. You can't choose your own path to be singing this secular music, being down in the juke joint and wanting to do what you wanted to do. You're a sharecropper and you are the son of a preacher. Be that, follow that. It's really not that bad in comparison to what we experienced with our dad. Like, why can't you just do that? And then you kind of have him in a way be really, really defiant and stand on his decision, especially after this night. It feels hella defiant because you would think, like, I don't want to sing another song if this is what happened because of it. But we see him make his choice and he decides to do it. But I did love that even in the end, Smoke still got to have that semblance of brotherhood and make sure Sammie got home. But he also got his new beginning, though it looks different in him choosing his own path. Because Smoke could have just burnt off and just left and, I'm alive. Let me smoke me a little cigarette and go on my way, and that's it. And it's just like, no, not only I'm about to F this up, but I'm about to relinquish all of that, whatever that path that my father laid down for me, or what myself and Stack thought we had to do as twins, or this reputation that was preceding us, and really choose what I want to do. And right now, I really want to be with my baby and Annie. I was like, oh, look at you, Ryan. Look at you, Ryan. But that, leads us towards the ending here, which I thought was, like, oh, we get into Sammie, like I said, making his own decision. A lot of this film is just mostly based on his choice. Not only do you have his father, but you have the twins, and even Delroy, that I didn't really spend too much time on, kind of being a representation of this is where you could end up. Because I once was a really good musician, had all these ambitions for this, that, and the third, only to be met with a white T-man or different circumstances who ripped those ambitions from me. And now I can still play, but I'm also a alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic now. I'm an alcoholic. Like, you could end up like this, and then you have the twins telling him everything that it's not. And then of course daddy, baby, you can't serve two masters. Thank you so much, the nerd, for the 199. Smoke protected Stack and Mary in the barn. Yeah, he I wasn't sure if that was more so protection or the sun was coming up, because we do have them tussling and then we kind of cut away and we immediately just jump to him being outside, and of course he's saving Sammie. Actually, do you think that he chose to, you and Mary, because Mary and himself, even though they were vampires, they had it in their mind, in the end we'll all still be family. You could be a vampire, and even Annie, and we can go live our best life. Do you think he chose to just let that be, or what happened in that barn before he came outside?
I think at the end of the day, that was still his brother, and whatever life undead life, whatever that looked like. I think I could see it. It wasn't the first thing that crossed my mind, but knowing what happens in the post credits, all that,
Mhm.
I can definitely see that happening, or seeing him, not going the extra mile to do anything to stop it. That was still his brother. And what I do think is interesting, and again, it goes back into Ryan's vampire lore, is that they're still fully self aware and have self
Yeah.
control and can be in relationship with one another, seemingly. So it would make sense to me that he would leave them there so he could have a chance to
Yeah.
be.
And then I would think that with Remmick dying, we're not so hive minded thing because that connection has been severed and everybody else, who was out there to
Yeah.
burn up in the sun. So now are you guys just moving, with self and with purpose and not just being a hive minded extension of Remmick, even though we're still there? Are we more there in totality because he's dead now? So many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
But even though Sammie has been presented with everything that he shouldn't do and why, every single reason at this point as to why, I just love how he looks just like hell and dance like, see, that's what happens when you go on a juke joint. Down there sinning, son. Come give your life to the Lord. I was like, do you see him? Do you see him? But I also thought, because this is one of the things I hate about films. I'm not a fan of films where we end where we start and we already know, what happened or who survived. It's just like, how good is your movie to make me not fixated on that? Because we know Sammie makes it out. So what do I have to look forward to? I thought it was written really well and impactful to where that was the least of my worries getting back here to this portion of the film. So I thought that was great. But we have Sammie decide to make a choice and he hops in the car, leaves the church, and has that little piece of guitar in tow because I'm still gonna do what I want to do. And we have him end up here where we get an older Sammie, and it's the living legend of Buddy Guy, who is a guitarist all on his own and is the influence for a little bit of everybody. And it's really, 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 really great Grammy Award winning man, but musician. But we have this post credit scene to where we have Buddy Guy, aka Sammie, like he's lived his life, all the accolades he's surrounded by, everything that he was able to do and accomplish for making this decision to not let anybody pick who he's going to be in life. And I found, my success. And we have Stack and Mary appear like no time has went by, and they offer him immortality and just saying, they kind of miss the energy and the music of that time, those things that just don't really exist. We would love for, maybe this could, come back together. We could bite you real quick, even in your own age, and you can still, live on. And of course, we have him decide not to. But in deciding not to, I thought it was really great as far as what a vampire is supposed to represent, and him finding his own way, not only as young Sammie but as now. And there is this, I'm gonna fix it, actually. There is this everlasting legacy that he has, because you see all these things. It was like I was able to have that legacy and have that tradition, that lineage, and the history and the music run through all the way to where I won't be forgotten. And I don't need immortality to do that. But Ashley, how did you feel about the post-credit scene and what Sammie decided to do?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because that's kind of one thing we didn't really touch on tonight, and that's this idea, or I think Ryan in this is also wanting people to challenge their belief systems. We find Delta Slim have some conversations talking about, this is the religion that they gave to you and things like that. And however you feel, I don't think anyone's faith is fully reassured until you question it. And I think in this journey, we do get to see Sammie's faith tested and
Yeah.
where it stands ultimately. Is that the life that you want to live, that you were fed by your father, or is this something that you worked out on your own? And so he's getting challenged every step of the way. And we see hints from Annie, we see conversations with Delta throughout the film or throughout the film. And now that we're at the end of it, he's come to his own consensus, right, with where he stands. Like, I love this thing more than anything, and I'm going to chart my own path. And whatever you feel about it, you almost have to respect it, right? Like I said, I don't think anyone's faith is sure until it's been tried and tested. And that's coming from me, who, honey, saved, sanctified, and filled. Do you hear me? But I think I like it. And I also like that approach. And I think this is probably our Crossroads experience, Tyra, when you are confronted with the possibility of
Mhm.
immortality or eternal life. What do you do with it? Nah, I'm good. I've lived long enough to know that I
Yeah.
want this on my terms, and you can't do anything but respect that at the end of
Yeah, and it's not like, of course, especially what we see with a lot of vampire narratives, whether it's Interview with the Vampire or even something like True Blood. There's always a sense of after so many, years and decades and living through stuff, you get tired. It's not as alluring as it once was. All the way down to you and Mary rolling up here. Hey, friend, what you doing? I've had all my success and my old age, and for the most part, buddy about to be out this world. I've lived my life. Hey, so about this immortality, we can offer you that. Like, no, I was able to, live out my life, do and say and conceive everything I wanted to through my music, and I didn't need to be a vampire or live, 20 different lives to do that. So I thought that was really, really nice. But TP said, "Man, bite me." That's all I see.
it.
That's all I see sticking out. Man, bite me. But leaving this here, and since we had, Mary and Stack roll up looking like no time had went by, there is definitely the possibility of a part two. Ashley, would you be here for it?
I would actually. I'm here to see how Ryan expands this universe. Like, I'd be very interested to see what Stack and Vamp Mary get up to in a part two. I think there's a lot of ways that he can go, like I said, and if he wanted to make it more expansive, of course, and not just give us a 24-hour period, but maybe a span of time and see how they live in this world. If he wanted to make his own vampire universe at this point, I would be down just to see what he comes up with. I think it's hard, especially in the horror genre, in the Black film space. It's sometimes hard to be original.
Yeah.
Come up with ideas and then execute them so well. I'm interested and I would support whatever he tries to do with a part two.
Most definitely would. Like, I don't know. I'm always scarce about a part two because you put that part one on such a pedestal, and then it's like, oh, really, Ryan? This ain't giving me the same energy of Sinners. But I would be really curious to know where that would go, because everything that existed from their past is, no more. Where would these two vampires be? Would we even, be with them? Or, it just felt like we kind of left the door open for that. And then I see prequel with High Chief in the posse. You know what, Gregory? I don't know. I just, Gregory, I could see that them popping up, and it was really, really brief when we have the High Chief and we have Remmick literally smoking, trying to, weasel his way into that home, and just kind of what that would look like, and that just kind of coming out of nowhere. That could definitely be a thing, or maybe just getting into what Mary and Stack's life look like. We're vampires now. What is that? What does that look like for us? Who are we? Like, I think that would be really, really interesting. But I'm here for every single
I need
possibility.
the indigenous vamp hunters. I needed more of them, more
Right?
than
It was quick. It was
I'm
quick.
here for that. Listen, get us over there.
We could, if we still have them, because the way Remmick was getting around and how quickly we turned. Them show wasn't the last of the Mohicans down there by the riverbank. That wasn't it.
Baby, the indigenous vamp hunters were massacring them boys. I need to see what they process was, because they know what time it is. I would have been here for that.
I want to see, and I would be curious just to really see some black vamps back then. Like, what were you guys doing? I want to know. Because when I tell you I would be having my way, because say something wrong to me. Look, what? Where? Dead. You died. I'm killing you on sight. Thank you so much for the $5. Dope Des 1967. How did Sammie sleep? Because whatever made Remmick is still out there. I mean, I think that was, and you could see, I do like that we use just the ancestry when we had Remnick getting his, Irish on, doing his two-step, child. He hit that dance, or even those gold pieces, just to show us, I'm really, really old. I'm not, at all of this time. Uh, I don't know. I think it would be interesting, and there's so many places to go because we could have somebody looking like, yeah, where's Remmick? Where's my family? Like, what happened to him and who did it? Like, I want to, or what's left of whatever happened out here in Mississippi. There are really a whole lot of places to go with that part. But baby Sammie said, I've been through the trenches. Okay. I've been through the trenches. I don't have to do none of that. Yeah, it was pretty brief. Black Bleach. I mentioned it kind of when we got into just the genre bending and where I feel like a lot of the scenes were maybe borrowed from. I was definitely here for the chewing of the garlic scene and us getting our Kurt Russell on. Because, yeah, pop out if you want to. I'm setting you on fire. I'm setting you on fire. And I think it was also really, really cute the way that we just assumed, like, oh, he's been bitten. We need to put his ass outside. It's like, oh, maybe it's too late. It's too late. We was going to come back out to get you. We didn't know no better. We was trying to be safe. But I do like amidst, Grace's behavior, we were trying to make smart decisions. Oh man. But yes, Ashley, anything else before we get ready to get out of here?
Don't forget, tomorrow night we will be here to talk all things The Last of Us episode 2.
We will. There is a full week. We will be here to talk The Last of Us Monday, Tuesday. If you love The Wire, we are halfway through season 2 and how you guys were moving. We're probably going to be done with season 2 season 2 Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to be getting into a watch along for the newer episodes of Black Mirror for the first time and getting into episodes 3 and 4. I see Issa over there, so I'm excited to know what she's doing. And yeah, this is really, really going to be a fruitful week, and we hope to see you guys. You know how it was all, 180 of y'all here? We would love to see you over there. We would love to see you over there because we always have a good time. And if you are a fan of what we were doing here and you had a good time, please be sure to join the collective Discord. We do a lot of good things over there and we have a good time. Ask our members, they'll tell you we have a good time. We would love to be fruitful and go multiply over there in the Discord. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I'm already annoyed by Ellie. I swear, because girl, why you... You know what? We'll save it for tomorrow. We're going to save it for tomorrow. But I really hope that everybody has a good night. Please like the video and leave a comment as far as what you thought about our commentary or even some of the things that you missed. Even though your comment may not make it on the screen, Ashley and myself, we do go back. We do read and respond and go look at everything that you guys have to say because we nosy. But we will definitely see you guys tomorrow for The Last of Us. And we want everybody to have a good night and a happy Easter.
Good night.
Give me a run for my money. There was nobody, no one that'll run me. So give me a run for my money. Sipping bubbly, feeling lovely. Living lovely. She's lovely. I wanna be with you. 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 Me just know.